Hi guys, welcome to the second video of 4 steps to writing an IELTS 7.0 essay. Thank you for coming back, and I hope you've enjoyed the first video and learned how to structure your essay. That's a very important first step. There are of course more types of essays in IELTS, and different essays may require slightly different essay structures. But understanding the basic 4-paragraph essay structure is very important. If you want to go further in your studies and learn how to approach other types of essay questions, well, I'll tell you more at the end of this video. But for now, let's start by looking at this paragraph. Studying overseas allows students to gain invaluable experience. They will learn to interact with people from different countries and will experience different cultures and customs. Students from China will learn to eat different kinds of food if they study in America. They will encounter different values that may be different from their own. Such students will probably return to their country with a more open mind. Is there anything wrong with this? Whenever I ask some of my students this question, some will point to what they think are some grammar mistakes. Well, there are no grammar mistakes in this paragraph. If there are no grammar mistakes in this paragraph, then what can be wrong? Scoring a 7.0 in IELTS not only requires you to work on your grammar. You can be perfect in your grammar, yet not get 7.0. You also need to work on your cohesion, which is how your sentences and ideas are connected to one another. The problem with the paragraph before is a lack of cohesion. The student didn't really use any cohesive devices or linking words. In this video, we're going to talk about cohesion. This is about the flow and connection from one idea to another in your writing. This is one area that the examiner looks at in your writing when he is deciding on what score to give you. One of the most common ways to demonstrate good cohesion in your writing is by using linking words or phrases. I'm going to focus on 3 most common types of linking words or phrases. From now on, I'm just going to call these linking words and phrases cohesive devices. This is the term which the IELTS band descriptors document uses. Cohesive devices are words that show reasons, examples, addition, and results. For each of the above, there are many cohesive devices that you can use. But the thing is that you don't need to know all or many of them. In fact, if you learn too many, you're wasting your time and you're going to confuse yourself. I've been teaching for 10 years and I know how students focus on the wrong things. Some of my students want to learn more cohesive devices, especially the more advanced ones. The truth is that you don't need to use advanced cohesive devices in order to score 7.0. You just need to use them and use them correctly. Your focus should be on learning the basic ones and using them correctly over and over again in all your essays. After all, you're only going to write one IELTS essay during your exam, and you can use the same cohesive devices over and over again in your practice and if you take more than one IELTS exam. Don't waste your time learning to use those that you don't need to use. What happens is that many students will use the advanced ones wrongly, and that is worse than using the simple ones correctly. So just learn a few, then use your time wisely by focusing on other areas. This is good advice from an IELTS teacher of many years of experience, so please take note of what I'm saying here. Let's go into the 4 types of cohesive devices which I'm going to cover. For reasons, you have because, this is because, the reason for this is that, and due to or because of. For examples, you have for example, for instance, or a good example of this is that. For addition, you have in addition, furthermore, and also. And for results, you have consequently, therefore, because of this leads to, and so. There are of course so many more cohesive devices showing reasons, examples, addition, and results. However, the above list is sufficient for people targeting 7.0 or below. I want to talk about 2 important things related to using these cohesive devices properly. Firstly, in the list, you see CL and NP. CL stands for clause and NP stands for noun phrase. Put simply, a clause consists of a subject and a verb and expresses a complete thought. For example, the table is not a clause because it contains no verb, but the table is white is a clause as it has a subject, which is the table, and also a verb, which is. A noun phrase is a phrase that plays the role of a noun. For example, the table is a noun phrase, but the table in the room in the black house at the end of the street is also a noun phrase, even though it's very long, because it plays the role of just one noun, the table. Basically, this long phrase is all about the table. There's no verb, and therefore it's not a clause. To use the cohesive devices in the table properly, you need to know whether to put a clause or a noun phrase after it. This may prove difficult for some students. In particular, using two cohesive devices in the table I gave you has proven to be quite challenging to some students. The two cohesive devices are due to or because of, and this leads to. As you can see, after these two phrases, you put a noun phrase and not a clause. This is because the to or of is a preposition. In English grammar, a noun phrase always comes after a preposition. Therefore, you can't write, "There's a great demand for cars due to its price is low." Or you can't write, "Very few people these days walk much, and this leads to people are not fit or healthy." The reason the underlined and bold words are wrong is that its price is low and people are not fit or healthy are clauses and not noun phrases. This is what it should be. There is a great demand for cars due to its low price. Very few people these days walk much, and this leads to poor fitness and health. The second thing you need to take note of with regards to using cohesive devices properly is punctuation. Here are some very common punctuation mistakes when using these cohesive devices. The government should raise the taxes on petrol because this will reduce the demand for cars. Capital punishment ensures that the criminal will not return to society again, so society will be a safer place. Students will learn the second language at a younger age, therefore they will become more fluent in it. What is wrong with the above sentences? Firstly, it's not understanding the difference between a conjunction and an adverb. You see, because and so are conjunctions. Therefore, you don't use them to start new sentences like it's used here. A conjunction connects two clauses in a sentence. Your full stop, which signals the end of the sentence, comes at the end of the two clauses. So the sentence should be, the government should raise the taxes on petrol because this will reduce the demand for cars. Capital punishment ensures that the criminal will not return to society again, so society will be a safer place. On the other hand, therefore is an adverb. It does not connect two clauses in one sentence. Normally, you use an adverb like therefore to start a new sentence like this. Students will learn the second language at a younger age. Therefore, they will become more fluent in it. Taking note of these two common mistakes, let's go back to our original paragraph. How can we improve this paragraph using cohesive devices properly? Let's take a look at the first variation of the paragraph which uses some cohesive devices. Studying overseas allows students to gain invaluable experience. This is because they will learn to interact with people from different countries and will experience different cultures and customs. For example, students from China will learn to eat different kinds of food if they study in America. Furthermore, they will encounter values that may be different from their own. Consequently, such students will probably return to their country with a more open mind. Let's look at a second variation which uses different cohesive devices. Studying overseas allows students to gain invaluable experience because they will learn to interact with people from different countries and will experience different cultures and customs. For instance, students from China will learn to eat different kinds of food if they study in America. Also, they will encounter values that may be different from their own. As a result, such students will probably return to their country with a more open mind. Now, let's look at the third variation. Studying overseas allows students to gain invaluable experience due to their interaction with people from different countries and the experience of different cultures and customs. For instance, students from China will learn to eat different kinds of food if they study in America. Also, they will encounter values that may be different from their own. This leads to a more open mind when students return to their country. Did you realize in this third variation how I used due to and this leads to? Remember, to here is a preposition. So what comes after is a noun phrase. Before, there was a clause, so I had to change that to a noun phrase in order for it to fit after the preposition. Now, if this is a bit too fast for you, just replay the video at the end and download the worksheet that comes with this video and go through the various variations and see how I changed the clause to a noun phrase. But here's the point. Don't these 3 paragraphs with cohesive devices sound much better? Not only do they sound much better, but they will score higher marks for cohesion. Therefore, make sure you use cohesive devices every time you are showing a reason or an example or an additional point or a result. Never write an essay without any of these cohesive devices, or don't even write an essay with too few of these cohesive devices. As an experienced IELTS teacher, I want to stress this again. Don't learn too many cohesive devices because the truth is that you're not going to use all of them in an essay. You'll probably use only about 10 in total. I see many teachers impressing students with lists of 20 or 30 or 40 cohesive devices, and many of them are words and phrases that most students will never know how to use correctly. The reality is that learning too many cohesive devices only confuses students. That's why I don't teach my students too many of them, as this will cause more problems for them in the end. You only need to write one task 2 essay in your IELTS exam, so use the same ones over and over again in practice. Master the basic ones by using them over and over again and using them correctly. Before I end this video, I'd like to give you a special thank you gift for watching the previous video and this video until now. I'm going to give you a list of what I call power result verbs. I give this list to my students and ask them to use some of them in every essay they write. You'll find this list of about 18 verbs that give results and how to use them in the worksheet that you can download for free. For now, let me just go through some of these power result verbs. I've highlighted in green those that I think are easier to use. I recommend that you use at least 1 or 2 of them in every essay. Beside each verb, there's what I call word patterns. That is, you need to know how the verb is used, the pattern of use. This is something I'll cover more in the third video. It's an important element of vocabulary and using a word properly. For now, let's look at the word enable. The word pattern is someone to do something. That is, the way you use this verb is enable someone to do something. It would be wrong if you use the verb in this way, enable someone doing something, or enable someone do something. Those are wrong word patterns. The correct way to use this verb is enable someone to do something. These are verbs that give results. So this is one way enable could be used. Guns can be bought easily in America. This enables people to kill whoever they want. The 18 verbs in the worksheet will help you to write better essays. These verbs give you different ways of expressing results, making your writing a bit more interesting. Be sure to use at least one or two of these verbs in your essay and make sure you use them properly, that is, with the correct patterns. I hope you've learned something from this lesson on cohesive devices. Just as I mentioned before in my previous video, I'm giving away a free 30-minute one-to-one IELTS lesson with me worth over $50. One lucky winner will be selected for this free consultation. You can ask me anything you want and even get me to correct your IELTS essay through a recorded video call. I'm totally yours for 30 minutes. In order to qualify, you need to do 3 things below. Number 1, like this page on Facebook. Number 2, share this page on Facebook. And number 3, write a comment about what you've learned from this video. But before you click post, make sure you tick also post on Facebook. You have to complete all 3 steps to stand a chance to win. I've also created a document that contains the cohesive devices and the 3 paragraph variations I went through just now. It will also contain an updated essay checklist and a quiz. And it will contain my free gift to you, the 18 power result verbs I mentioned just now. Just click the link to get the document. And finally, watch out for my 3rd video tomorrow, which will be in your email. If you haven't subscribed to my video series, just click the button to subscribe to it. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Oh yes, I remembered. In the beginning of this video, I promised to tell you how you can learn how to approach the other types of essay questions. Well, I teach my students the 7 different types of essay questions in my IELTS classes in Singapore. If you happen to be in Singapore and want to learn all these, all you need to do is go to www.ieltsuniversity.com or call me at 9768-1054 to find out more about my classes. In my IELTS classes in Singapore, my students will get over 200 pages of IELTS notes for all 4 components of the IELTS exam: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. That's all for now. See you guys tomorrow.